Good morning, you guys. I'm coming to you at 6:18. I don't think there's any embarrassing notifications. Now it's 6:19. So we're doing a lot better. But you'll also know that I filmed last night's video at 10:30, which as you can guess, it's very early. I've been up since 4 actually. I watched what did I watch? I watched Tammy's discussion about the burning god because I couldn't remember their thoughts on it. So I got that, um, which was very illuminating for my own personal discussion I plan to film this weekend. And then I watched their conversation with RF Kuang. And then after that, YouTube recommended that I watch a lecture that RF Kuang did about the Poppy War in context, Asian American literature, and speculative fiction. But it was a lecture she did on Zoom that I guess was uploaded. I'll leave a link to it down below. It was like the actual presentation itself was only 30 minutes, and then there was like about an hour of discussion with the professor, and some questions that students had submitted and like viewer questions. Some of it was about publishing overall, which I kind of just like skipped through because I watched so many videos about publishing, and as someone who doesn't really care, because I feel like those are people who want to be published and I just have no desire to do that, I will happily critique those books for the rest of my life, I guess. um, but there was a really interesting conversations and some things that she said, so that was how I started my morning. But now I need to actually start getting ready for my day. I need to start getting ready for my day. I don't know why I repeated that for emphasis. It's not really something I need to emphasize. So today is actually, I think in previous vlogs, I've been saying I have so much time today, which is accurate because I work the same amount, but I go in earlier, so it feels like I have like the whole day. But then I remember that I didn't buy. I mean, we're still financially supporting, but I did get tickets to see Death on the Nile this afternoon. I want to say it's around 3, so from like 3 to 5, I'm going to be out of commission. So no reading is going to get done there. But I do need to go. I need to pick up some groceries today, and I will still have audiobook time at work. I haven't decided if I'm going to listen to Wahala by Nikki May or if I'm going to listen to Bad Fat Black Girl Notes from a Trap Feminist by Cecily Bowen. Wahala is by, oh, I said Nikki May. So Wahala is, it's like messy female friendships. I believe it's supposed to be wealth. I think it's supposed to be opulence. If it does give what it's supposed to give, we could see this wind up as a choices pick. Bad Fat Black Girl is just, I don't even know what it's about. I download everything that Libro gives me as an ALC. The only thing I haven't downloaded was like they had a cookbook, and when I first joined, there were just like some books that I am not at all interested in. But now I feel like I just download all of them because Semicolon Bookstore in Chicago. I think they're in Chicago. I don't even know. Let me make sure. But Semicolon Bookstore, they still get the little money they get from me purchasing through Libro, even though it's an advanced listener copy. So I'm like, they can get the money. I may never listen. If I do decide to listen, I have so many. I have like 103 audiobooks, which is sad. Which is sad. I've only actually purchased 2 of those because I did briefly have a membership so I could get Malice on audio and The Godfather. Those are the only 2 audiobooks I purchased through Libro. But everything else was free, so I'm like, I might as well. But what is the actual discussion of this? The actual discussion is growing up on the south side of Chicago, Cecily Bowen learned early on how to hustle, stay on her toes, and champion other black women and femmes as she navigated blackness, queerness, fatness, friendship, poverty, sex work, and self-love. There's more going on to it. Her love of trap music led her to the top of the hip-hop journalism profiling game, changing artists like Megan Thee Stallion, Lizzo, and Janelle Monáe. But despite all the beauty, complexity, and general badassery she saw, Bowen found none of the nuanced representation in mainstream feminism. Thus, she coined trap feminism, a contemporary framework that interrogates where feminism meets today's hip hop. This seems like a good, because I've read a lot of fiction for BLACKATHON, so reading some nonfiction might be what I should do. This is also shorter. It's only 6 hours and 31 minutes. So the other Wahala is also pretty short. It's like 7 hours, I want to say. Where's the details? Oh, it's 10 hours and 19 minutes. So I think Bad Flat Black Girl, which is also narrated by Cecily Bowen, is what I'm going to read. I think it's what I'm going to do because it's shorter. And I will actually have a chance of finishing that today between going to work. Because when I speed it up, it'll be around 3 hours. So between going to work and grocery shopping, I'll be able to finish that audio today. Aaron and I are finally around the same page in 50 Words for Rain. I didn't read this yesterday because I knew she was only like 100 pages in, but I think now we're both around the halfway mark, so I'm going to continue reading this today. This has to get finished this week because that's what the buddy read is. And then, oh, it's on this shelf now, isn't it? Yes, it is. Opal and Nev, Final Revival. This was the last book on the TBR project for this week, so if I can get to it, I would love it. If I don't get to it, I don't get to it. I still have to read it this week because it is my book club book for this month. But I think that's everything that I had to say for this little updating moment. Hopefully you guys are going into the weekend strong. I do kind of want to go to the bookstore. Because I never bought my January book, and I kind of want to pick up a book. I probably, thanks to the subscriber that sent me Ophelia, the only other book coming out this month that I kind of want to buy is House of Sky and Breath, and that comes out on Tuesday, obviously. So I think that's probably gonna be my February pick, but I might just go pick up something randomly. If I do, I'll bring it to y'all. We can do a little mini book haul because I'm not gonna do a collective haul at the end of the year probably. So that's where I am. I'm gonna go. I'll check back in after I've actually done some reading, and we're gonna get into my thoughts on the things that I read once I have read them.
Okay, so I just got back from grocery shopping. Still need to buy a couple of items that I'm probably gonna pick up after I go see my movie in a couple hours. So that's my plan there. But I thought I would come and I would update you guys on Bad Fat Black Girl because I am Notes from a Trap Feminist, because I'm 75% of the way through this. And I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying this the same way that I enjoyed reading Beyonce Information Remixing Black Feminism by Umesike Tinsley, I believe is accurate. And they're both books that deal with, what it's meaning, Black identity in relation to feminism, and even Austin Channing Brown's Black dignity in a world for whiteness, made for whiteness. They all kind of touch on very similar themes. Not the same, wouldn't call them like the same book or anything, but they all are more like personal Beyonce Information Remixing Black Feminism still touch on a lot of Umesike's personal situations, a lot of personal stories that are weaving into how their viewpoint is. And I'm enjoying this one the same way that I enjoyed those other two books, and I'm enjoying them in the same way that while I read Remixing Black Feminism, Beyonce Information physically, part of me still feels that, I don't know, I feel like I definitely need to read these books multiple times to get everything out of them. So while yes, I'm enjoying them, it's not the same as me enjoying a piece of fiction, which is fine. I don't think that it has to be. I don't think I have to enjoy it in quite the same way, in quite the same manner, if that makes any sense at all, and I'm not sure that it does, but I am having a good time. If you've read this and you're looking for other texts that are sort of similar, those are two that I've read that I would suggest. I feel like a lot of people read Black Dignity because it was a Reese pick, but Beyonce Information is it's very similar vibes. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Not at all helpful, but I am having a good time. I do recommend it. It is narrated by the author, and I like her voice. I like her personality. It definitely feels like I'm on Zoom with the homies, and so that's nice. I do recommend it. I'm gonna go because I have about an hour to eat before I have to go to the theater. So I'm gonna go do that, and I'm gonna enjoy not reading. But I only have 45 minutes of this audiobook left. And then my other big swing for today is to finish 50 Words for Rain. I say finish, but if I can at least get 100 pages in, right now Aaron is 20 pages ahead of me. So if I can get 100 pages in today, I will take that as a win, and then I'll just finish it up tomorrow. And tomorrow, because I don't have to go to work tomorrow because it's a Saturday, I could probably read all of Opal and Nev for my final daily vlog. So that'll be nice. I'll have been able to hit all of my books, which I've been very productive. Would have been very productive. I will have read 2 additional things that I hadn't planned to read this week. So I read that picture book by Taye Diggs, Why? Conversations About Race. And now this one. So look at me. Look at me go. Look at me go. Look at me go. Okay, I'm actually going to go now.
What's good, you guys? It's Monty, and I'm here to wrap it up because I've actually finished some things in a shocking, not so shocking turn of events. Let me pull up let's just unplug. It is now 23:47, so in like what is that, like 13 minutes? This little daily vlog would not have been, I wouldn't have read these things on this day, which I don't know how important it is that these things actually be read on the day, but it is what it is. So I finished 50 Words for Rain by Asha Lemmy because Erin finished this book. Erin was behind me yesterday. She was on page she was ahead of me yesterday. She got to page 230, I want to say. And so I was like, okay, I can just read 100 pages today. And then I was on Twitter at 9 o'clock and Erin had finished the goddamn book. And I said, well, I guess I got to pick this up. So I went ahead and I finished this, and I gave it 4 to 5 stars on Goodreads because I think that me and skipping through time are never going to be friends. And Asha Lemmy was skipping through time to give us the saddest parts of Nori's life. So 50 Words for Rain, we follow Noriko. Do we know her? Oh, it's Camisa. I'm assuming it's Camisa. I'm probably not pronouncing correctly, but we follow Nori Camisa, who is a biracial daughter who was taken in by her grandmother. And I say taken in, her mother abandons her at her grandmother's house, where she is abused by this poor woman for years. I think she's there for 2 years, if I'm remembering correctly, before Akira, who is her half-brother, shows up and he kind of puts an end to the abuse. But it also sets in motion a chain of events that leads to just sad thing after sad thing after sad thing. But what I appreciated about Asha Lemmy is that it wasn't like A Little Life, where you could tell that Hanya Yanagihara was trying to make you cry. And it wasn't even, I think it was closer to Shuggy Bane by Douglas Stewart, where both Shuggy Bane and this sad things are just kind of happening. Bad things are happening to young characters, but it's just very matter of fact. But I don't think this was as voyeuristic as those other two are. And I say that in that while yes, we are fast forwarding to all of the horrible points, the lowest points in Nori's life, there is other things happening. There are moments that feel like this isn't all it's going to be, but then as the story goes on, it's very clear that the sad moments are kind of the whole book. And so I had to really grapple with, overall, while I'm enjoying the narrative, and her grandma is a raggedy bitch. Her grandmother is if you want a character that you're going to hate, you love reading about a character you're going to despise, her grandmother is a raggedy bitch. From the first chapters where she's forcing Nori to do these chemical baths to lighten her skin, to the middle of the book where there's outright assault, her grandmama is a raggedy bitch. So for that alone, I knew that I was more invested in this story than I was in anything that was happening in A Little Life or Shuggy Bane. And I would say that if you read those and you liked them, you could like 50 Words for Rain, but I think that there was just a lot more interesting things happening in terms of Nori as a character and how she had been socialized and how her abuse led her to react in certain situations that oftentimes would perpetuate an abusive situation. There's also a dynamic that Nori has with her brother Akira, who is both her savior, but I also think in the same vein, he is I said that he was smothering her, and Erin did not seem to agree with that. But I think that they have such a I was getting Flowers in the Attic from it. It was giving me disturbing vibes. But I think that there was something unhealthy about the relationship that those two characters had. And I do think that a lot of that did have to do with Nori's earlier abuse and how her abuse shaped her, and how she was also this way because she was thinking that if she was this way, then her mother would come back. And so, like, I could understand that there was a lot going on that was compounding on top of things that Akira was doing to sort of attempt to undo it. But overall, like, it's again, it's a complicated dynamic that those two have. And I think that it's a book that would benefit from repeat readings, assuming you can get past the child abuse, the racism, the on page miscarriage that happens to one of the characters in the book. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's happened. The human trafficking storyline. There's a lot of like bad things happening to this person that I don't know I would want to read immediately again. But I do think that it is a book that I will like to reread and sort of parse through some of the character dynamics between Akira and Nori and the layers that are there, because I do think that there are layers, and there are definitely things that are set up at the beginning of the book that come into play at the end of the book that are just fascinating to see. So overall, like I said, 4 out of 5 stars. I do recommend it. It's not I There are a lot of things in this that I think could be um that could trigger some, things for readers out there in the universe. Um, so I don't recommend it to everybody, but if it's been on your radar and you saw my Goodreads review where I listed out all the things that were like happened in the book, or you were just listening 5 seconds ago and I listed them again in this video, I say check it out. I had a good feels like the bad word to like describe the experience that I had reading this, but I did have a net positive experience. The next thing that I listened to today that I actually finished was Bad Fat Black Girl, which every time I say feels like I'm getting something wrong. So let me open Libro FM back up. Libro FM. Yeah, Bad Fat Black Girl. Notes from a Trapped Feminist. I'm gonna give this 5 out of 5 stars. I think I had a good time reading it. It was kind of reminding me. I said this in my car when I was reading Beyonce Information. It's not the same book, but I think that they're in a similar vein, and they cover similar subject matter from what I remember from Beyonce Information. Um, and it was interesting. It was an interesting experience. I enjoyed it. The audiobook itself is pretty short. I think the physical is under 300 pages. So if you want to read it physically, I'm sure you could get through this also rather quickly. It was a lot of discussion from a perspective that I hadn't considered on topics that I don't spend. I'm not gonna go as saying like I spend a lot of my time thinking about these things, but I do think this is, again, I think I also said this in the car, I will probably revisit uh this at some point because it is a rather short audiobook. It's only like 6.5 hours, but I was listening at like 2 to 2.5 times speed, so it was like a 3-ish hour experience for me. And again, it was a very net positive experience. I would recommend it to other people. I don't know if there was anything, again, because I've already talked about how it kind of reminded me about other books. Like, the focuses of the conversations are separate, but I think that they are all um they they are in conversation with one another. Maybe I'm gonna steal that. I've been watching a lot of RF Kuang interviews today, and earlier I was watching an interview she did with Tochi on Yabuchi, and they talked about how books are in like conversation with one another. And I would say that they're not, the 3 books I was talking about, Black Dignity, Beyonce Information, and Bad Fat Black Girl, they're not the same book, but I feel like they are kind of in conversation with one another. And so having read them, it's like it'll make sense if you've also read them. But again, it was another time that I enjoyed having. I do recommend the audio. It was fine. I don't know if I would appreciate it as much if the author wasn't reading it to me. I don't know. I didn't have that experience. But I would imagine that it would be just as enjoyable, maybe a little bit less depending on your affinity for the audiobook or how you personally feel about the narration. So I say go give it a sample. If you like it, you like it. But that's all I have for today's video. So thanks for watching. I finished another 2 books today. We are now 9 books deep into February, which I'm pretty impressed with. I hadn't realized that I'd read so many things, and I've read 9 books in 11 days, which feels pretty good. I didn't think that I was doing that strong. So I'm gonna end this here. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow, but I'll see y'all for my last day of daily vlogging. It's gonna be very exciting, hopefully. I don't know, I'm not gonna make any promises, but I'm gonna go. I still have to edit this. I would like to get some sleep tonight. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning with another video. But until then, and until next time, bye.